In this series, we are answering actual questions that we have gotten in this case in order to avoid any kind of where anybody sees their question. These are 6, 7, 10 years old questions that our counselors have received. So don't worry about that. And if you have a question and it's really pressing, then write to our Ask a Counselors, which you could find on our homepage at themarriagefoundation.org. Otherwise, we'll get into this. These have proven to be helpful to people, I believe, because it gives some idea of how to see things from our perspective, which is very different than current trendy perspectives or Western psychological perspectives, because we are not. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation and been saving marriages since 2001 using scientific, very deep scientific, as I said, principles, universal principles. And it's very positive what we do and very helpful. Here we go. This is number 3 in this series, and I'd love to get your comments. So this is from Ginny. I've been married 22 years, and I have a husband that on and off uses meth. I find he makes, is this still a big thing, using meth? I find he makes poor decisions, and my kids notice when he is using, and they know the cycles of sleeping and being moody for days. He also regularly is on hookup and dating sites or open. My kids have seen it on our computer and his phone. I over time forgive him, but now feel the cycle has broken me and my kids. They ask me why I stay. They must be older kids, and I have no good reason. I try to look at his good traits, but I feel like each time he betrays me and the girls, it makes us lose hope. I don't want to teach them this is okay. It seems like we need to make men more accountable for their actions and not make women feel it's our fault. I have moved past it over and over, but I'm running out of hope. I feel so broken, and my 16-year-old is the most affected as things have never been as bad as they are now. She resents me for staying. I don't want my girls to think this behavior is okay. It hurts so much to feel you are never enough, and I believe women should be cherished for all we do for our husbands. Instead, we're told we need to fix it. I guess I am overcome with disappointment and hurt. I feel I don't have any more to give, but if this is worth saving, I need help seeing it. So I'm going to give you the answer that the counselor gave her, and then I'm going to give a more full answer. Because don't forget, we get a lot of these, and the counselors who respond have to be very careful not to step on toes. They have to be careful not to push women or men in a direction that's unhealthy for their family or for them. And usually something can't be answered in one email, can it? So the answer is, Paul says you are to put your kids first. So I'm going to say something about that means that your kids should never be in danger. It doesn't mean that you put your children ahead of your spouse. Your spouse is number one. Your kids, what a gift you've given them of life. They will be gone someday. Do your best. But you put your spouse first. Separating in a case like this is not wrong, but probably you are so intensely impacted that no matter what I say, the context of your situation will keep bringing you back to your impulse to leave. I cannot advise you to stay. And I recall that she asked that. By the way, you'll be able to read the question and the answer in the description. I cannot advise you to stay, but I can advise you to at least take the 3-day free trial so you have a greater, more expanded context. And I think that's really good advice. Now, let's get into this, shall we? And we don't look for things to criticize. We don't look to point out people's mistakes or flaws or how they're not seeing things. Nobody who comes to us is seeing what we see. We've been doing this for over 25 years. And although there is a science underneath science, don't forget, it's sort of like snowflakes. Every individual, every marriage is different. But if you stick to kind of the rules of the road, you will find your way out of these messes. Now, this one is tough. And I have met with husbands who have been on drugs, and it's not easy. Now, scripturally, because I think that's very important, don't you? Scripturally, we say for better or worse when we take our vows. And I see drugs as a terrible disease. And this disease, and I'm going to explain what this disease really is. It's really an escape, isn't it? Whether it's alcohol or drugs, whether it's pot or wine, it doesn't make any difference. Overusing any substance is only something that a person does when they can't take it anymore. Now, if your husband or your wife is hanging on for dear life on a cliff, you're not going to walk away from them. They're hanging on for dear life. And yeah, they screwed up to get into that situation, but we don't say, hey, you put yourself in this situation, I'm walking away. You don't do that. On the other hand, if someone gets to the point of where they're just truly destroying the kids, not you, but destroying the kids, you have to separate. Now, having said that, the way she's behaving with her husband in the marriage, and I wouldn't say this to her, but we're talking in an abstract here, so I'll tell you. The way she talks about her husband, she has this us and them mentality. And she's teamed up with her daughters. So she got off to a bad start in seeing his disease, which is just getting worse and worse, that he's even looking for sex outside of his marriage. Now is not the time necessarily to leave. Definitely, we don't want to hold him accountable. If she's going to leave, she should do so with love. But she's got to get back to a place of love and respect and understanding. Now, teenage daughters, daughter 16, are absolutely control freaks. Usually, not 100% of the time. Let's say 80% of the time. But for a daughter to say, I resent you, Mom, for sticking with my father. Whoa. So the daughter has not been raised with this idea that her father is her father. Her father gave her life. And the mom really shouldn't be putting down the father, no matter how bad he is, to the daughter, because our daughters marry their fathers. And they marry their fathers as seen through the eyes of the mother. Does this make sense to you? So if you're married to a drug addict and you're seeing him as a POS because he's put drugs ahead of you, rather than seeing him as this person who has definitely taken the wrong turn and is suffering like crazy and needs compassion and understanding, it's setting up the daughter for a very unsuccessful future marriage, because that's who she's going to end up marrying. She's going to end up marrying the kind of guy who runs away from his problems. Now, what should she do? I think the advice given to her by this counselor to start the course, just to get insight into how things really work, rather than the current thinking of, well, you have to hold people accountable and women shouldn't do this and men shouldn't do that. Yeah, that's not helpful for marriage. Of course, men shouldn't do that. Of course, women shouldn't do what I described. Of course. But once we're in this situation, we try to come back to a basis that is a basis of love, forgiveness, understanding, compassion, rather than resentment, hatred, trying to get away from someone who's in big trouble. This is a lot, I'll be honest. What she has to deal with is difficult. Now, also bear in mind that in her mind, most of what's going on is exaggerated, and it doesn't even have to be all that exaggerated. It's pretty bad, just the facts. But her resentment for not being loved and treated like a queen, that has to be put aside, because the job of all of us, whether husband or wife, is to take care of our spouse when they're in trouble, if we can, if we can. So that's it. I mean, I would love to have your opinion of what I'm saying here. It's a little bit deep, it's a little bit unusual, and I recognize that for most people, initially, it's asking for too much. But I do want you to know that making the effort to do what is right, even when our partner is doing everything wrong, is always worth it. Because at the end of the day, we get married for love, and there's lessons to be learned. And the course that counselor suggested, it's an online course. It's very practical, very usable, and very useful, but it deals with us. What do I do in my head? How do I open my heart? How do I balance things out? How do I communicate with him? How do I see him? How do I regain respect for him? All of these things are covered, and they need to be. So, I don't know why this one got chosen. It's a tough one. But frankly, to tell the truth, we get mostly tough ones. We've had many people in this situation who've absolutely succeeded. They've absolutely succeeded and turned it around. And that's the thing to really keep in mind. Even though we get caught in these traps in life, it's not forever. We are loved by God. He will always help us find a way. They say when we hit bottom, all we can do is look up for the way out, and that's true. And it's nice to have our spouse there with us, and that's frankly what her role should be. Okay, like the video, please. Really helps us a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. We have over 100,000 subscribers, and there's a reason for that. Even though what we do is quite different from the norm, those who find it compelling, you're the winners. And I mean that sincerely. So I'm Paul Friedman. I'm so glad you stopped by. Definitely leave a comment. I really want to get your feedback. God bless you, and take care. Hi, I'm Paul Friedman, founder of the Marriage Foundation. Been saving marriages since 2001. Now, what can we say about not giving up and not settling? These are two big deals that for your marriage, these are vital concepts. And they boil down to two things that we offer you. One are the books that we have. I have Lessons for a Happy Marriage, which is the first book that I wrote, and Breaking the Cycle. They're both great. Flip a coin as to which one you want. That's for not settling. Those books lay out for you exactly what marriage is all about. The guidelines, the intricacies, delves into communication, all the things about marriage that you need to know. And if your marriage is doing fine, but you just have this little problem here, this little problem there, but it's basically doing fine, don't settle. I promise you this, when you read one of these books, you're going to learn more about marriage than you even knew you didn't know, and it's going to change everything for the better. You will be so grateful that you took my advice and got one of those books. Now, the Don't Give Up, when I began, I was structuring, compiling all the marriage help that people need in order to save their marriage. I was a divorce mediator until 2001, and so I was fortunate that I was accessing a support group for those who were going to get a divorce called Second Saturday in San Diego, California. And so I was able to pull out of those sessions individuals after I told them that I could help them save their marriage who were beyond on the verge of getting a divorce. I'm going to say 95 to 98% of the people for whom I got a divorce shouldn't have, didn't need to, had they known what I now know. I took all of that knowledge and I put it into comprehensive courses, one for men and one for women. These courses, your course based on your gender, will bring you from the depth of the swamp that you find yourself in, out of that, into the light, and help you achieve a marriage you never even dreamed possible. That's a promise. Now, what if you're not even married? What if you're going to get married and you're just looking around for marriage advice? In that case, and I actually created this for some friends, we have a premarital course, which is amazing. You'll never have a problem in your marriage. Well, like nobody ever has a problem, but you won't have any killer problems. You'll know how to be married to get the most out of your marriage. What if you're only dating? Then I have a course for you too. This one I actually created for my son, and it is a step-by-step process for you to attract your soulmate and in the right way. I'm so glad that you found us. Please take advantage of that which we have to offer. We are here to serve you. I'm Paul Friedman. God bless you and take care.